Good day, internet community. You're listening to Nick RP Green, and this is the second video of my gaming's highs and lows of 2015. If you haven't already, check out my top 3 games of 2015. But without further ado, this is gaming's highs and lows, my top 3 League of Legends updates of 2015. So Nick, you may be asking, what you talking about? League of Legends undergoes many updates every year. Patch to patch, we are introduced to new champions and skins, new featured game modes, and gameplay updates from the slightest item tweaks to complete overhauls of maps. There was a total of 24 patches in 2015, and varied from the addition of a couple of skins and balance adjustments, up to the likes of the Burning Tides event, the fighter rework, and of course, the pre-season changes. In this top 3, I will discuss my picks for my 3 favourite updates this year. These will be very specific updates, so for example, I wouldn't say pre-season as a whole was my favourite update, but rather a specific marksman update or the new mastery tree or something within the pre-season change would be my favourite. Also note that featured game modes that are returning modes from previous years are not included, so don't expect to see Earth in there. As with my previous videos summing up 2015, there will be a couple of special mentions at the end. For number 3, we go all the way back to January 28th and patch 5.2. Now 5.2 brought us the Warring Kingdom skins for Nidalee and Katarina, Vel'Koz's Arc-like skin, and Jinx's awesome Firecracker skin. We also bid farewell to good old Deathfire Grasp, which in all honesty wasn't good old Deathfire Grasp, it was a good thing that it was removed. But the most noteworthy update of 5.2 was the relaunch of League's oldest Yordle, well, joint oldest along with Teemo. It's Tristana, the Yordle Gunner.
You make it easy to be unimpressed.
With the release of champions like Gnar, Riot really started to tap into and understand what a Yordle actually is, and they did a fantastic job of bringing Trist into that fantasy and develop it much further. Old Trist had the odd problem of being an AD carry with complete AP scalings that had some clue of its identity, but hadn't fully been realised. The rework of Tristana's E ability into Explosive Charge showcased her fantasy as a Demo Man style character, as well as creating new ways to let her abilities complement and interact with one another, raising her skill ceiling and allowing players who really enjoy her to really tap into her newfound potential. Trist went from being a tiny blue girl who stood at the back and auto-attacked people at long range to a feisty animated Yordle who fires sticky bombs onto her foes, charges up her cannon and blows them to Kingdom Come. Oh, and a fantastic new voiceover, great job by Elspeth Eastman. Number 2 takes us to a rather quiet patch actually. June 24th and patch 5.12 saw under the surface the rewrite of the skill shot coding, fixing several bugs that had been present for years and making skill shots in general vastly more responsive. On the surface, however, not much really happened. A few champion skins got some new particle updates, a new set of chroma packs got released, and being summer, we got a new set of 5 pool party skins. Draven, Dr. Mundo, Lulu and Rek'Sai all joined in the summer fun, and the community just missed out on everyone getting Mundos for free. So the number 2 update? Well, that would be champion number 5, Pool Party Zac. So why this for number 2? Because Zac got a freaking skin! Zac was released on the 29th of March 2013 and we waited a whole 2 years and 3 months before he finally got given a new skin. Pool Party specifically had been a fan request for some time, and Riot delivered with a great skin, wonderful water effects, a really cute recoil animation that even includes Earth, and they even threw in 3 chromas for his base, the most ideal champion to be creating chromas for. The problem with Zac is the way he transforms his shape during his abilities makes it very difficult for him to be anything other than a blob. Clothes won't really stretch, and something non-liquidy won't really alter easily. People have suggested metal, but it just wouldn't work, not without essentially remaking the entire framework for him. The time and resources for such a task just isn't worth it when there are so many other champions they're in need of looking at. Alas, poor Yorick. But nevertheless, it was refreshing to finally get a Zac skin this year. Now Riot, where's that Dragon Master Swain? Now when talking about Zac, I mentioned there were other champions who needed the attention that a completely original Zac skin would need. And for number 1, I've picked one of the champions that did indeed receive that attention. Trundle and Sejuani were good. Gangplank and Tristana were brilliant, and until recently, Scion was easily my favourite. But the last patch of the year, 5.24, brought us the absolutely fantastic relaunch of Poppy, Keeper of the Hammer.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, hammer!
Now, first of all, take a look at this. This used to be Poppy. This is what Poppy looked like just over 1 month ago. It's only been a month since Poppy looked like complete garbage. Now take a look at this. Look at it! Doesn't it burn your retinas just by a mere glance? Okay, it's gone now. Not really! She's still there! She'll always be there! Remember her! Okay, it's gone now for real. Instead, let's look at this. This is Lollipoppy's new splash. The difference between these two splashes just defines Poppy's relaunch. She's still Poppy. There's still some nods to some of the subtler mechanics in her old kit and to some of her older splash arts, but she's actually a champion that looks and feels appealing. We talked about the fantasy of being a Yordle when we talked about Tristana's relaunch. Poppy's no different. She's no longer a short, fat, blue pig-like woman. She's now, despite her size, a huge presence in the game, a plucky young Yordle with a real sense of identity. I like that they've made her more of a tank than whatever the hell she was before, some sort of anti-carry thing, and her kit complements her new character really well. She's not the hero, or at least she doesn't think she is, but she's an enabler and a protector. She gets all up in her enemies' faces and keeps them off of her carries. I would argue that when used correctly, her new ultimate is one of the most powerful in the game, able to turn around any fight in an instant by completely removing a member or members of the enemy team for a significant amount of time. The new kit is a lot of fun, and she's very quickly become my favourite champion to play right now. Plus, she's now viable in the jungle, which is my main role, and it was hard not to like her. I do believe she's probably a bit too strong at the moment. Her damage output when building full tank seems a tad high, so I imagine the damage on a Q might get nerfed slightly, but probably that's all that's required. It's difficult to decide whether her or Scion is the best relaunch ever. Scion's was pretty damn good too. Gangplank's had the best launch in terms of what they did with his release, the whole Burning Tides event, but for me, Poppy is definitely the best update of the year. And it's at least nice that Lollipoppy's splash doesn't make me slowly die inside anymore. Okay, so as I said with my previous videos, we've got 2 special mentions, and we'll start with the worst update of 2015. This one's a sad one, because this one was for a champion I really wanted to see do well this year, and his initial update looked interesting, albeit very odd and slightly disturbing. I am, of course, talking about Mordekaiser. Poor Maud, what did they do to you? I remember reading the fighter update and watching the example videos thinking, okay, this is interesting. They want him to replace the AD carry? Can that work? Well, he's been given the tools for it, and holy crap, he's got a dragon! As we then discovered, like the other 3 fighters, Maud was released way too strong and went through the World Championships being pretty much permabanned. That's right, Mordekaiser had to be banned at Worlds. A year ago you'd been called a troll for saying something like that. The problems escalated further when they tried to back out of some of the mechanics in order to make Maud viable again in solo lanes, like being able to use his W on just himself and not having to have a teammate near him, whilst making him not as oppressive in duo lanes. And what we've been left with is exactly back where we started, just with new mechanics. And why does he have a freaking dragon? Why? It's cool, but why does he have a dragon? It doesn't make any sense! Maud is now just as weak as before, and currently over the last month he has the 5th lowest win rate in solo queue. Poor Maud. For my second special mention, this one is going to my most anticipated update of 2016. Well, at least we're expecting it in 2016. There has been some information come out recently about it. It's another champion relaunch, and I think this one is a fabulous choice, and to not include it would be totally outrageous. I'm sorry, yes. My most anticipated is the Taric rework. Despite being one of League's most beloved champions thanks to his camp demeanour, Taric is actually one of the least developed champions. Released in August of 2009, he only has 16 lines of dialogue. Compare this to someone like Karthus, who after his visual update was given over 200 lines of dialogue. It's clear to see that there is plenty of room to develop Tarek's character. From a gameplay perspective, Tarek has always been rather tricky to balance due to his armour scaling abilities, and usually ends up being far too overpowered, or, like his current state, too underpowered, and not worth taking over someone like Braum or Tahm Kench. As I said, being so beloved means Riot will have to work very hard to make sure that whatever he becomes, he's still Tarek, as the community knows and loves him, but at the same time becomes a champion that is actually viable and worth taking. Looking forward to seeing him become even more fabulous than he already is. Oh, and Armour of the 5th Age Tarek is still his best skin. Who am I kidding? He's pink, nothing's ever going to beat that. So that's the second of my gaming's highs and lows of 2015 now over. I'm looking forward to another great year of League of Legends, and with any luck, this will be the year I finally reach Plat. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. As I said at the start, if you haven't watched my previous video on my best game of 2015, then click the link here now to check that one out. I've got 2 more of these videos planned, with the next one being my most anticipated game of 2016, and my final one, which I won't say what it is yet, will include a giveaway. Like and subscribe if you like what you've seen, and I'll see you next time. See you on the Rift!